Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First and foremost, this is a very controversial topic at the moment in the West. So I'm going to start off with a few things before I begin this video. This was an inspiration to me from a non-Muslim who took this and really misunderstood what Sharia law is, because the media outlets, they love to lie about this stuff. They love to criticize. They love to lie out through their teeth about this particular subject. So this video is going to be the truth of what Sharia law actually is, and to clarify the most misunderstood system on earth. So let me start out with a quick question. And I promise this is not a trick question. How many of you heard the word Sharia and immediately thought of violence, harsh punishments, or oppression? That reaction alone proves why this lecture is necessary. So because the fear of Sharia today is not based on what Sharia actually is, but on what people have been told it is. So Sharia is one of the most misunderstood words in the modern world. It has been weaponized politically, sensationalized by media, and deliberately distorted to create fear, especially in the West. Yet, ironically, many of these values people in Western societies fight for every day: justice, human dignity, protection of life, family, stability, honesty, charity, and accountability, and the very foundations of Sharia. Sharia is not a government system imposed at gunpoint. Sharia is not chaos, violence, or extremism. Sharia is a moral and legal framework designed to protect humanity from harm and to bring balance between rights and responsibilities. What Sharia actually means? The word Sharia literally means a path to water. In classical Arabic, water represents life. So Sharia is the path to life, not death. It is the path to moral clarity and not tyranny. It is the guidance and not brutality. Sharia governs how a person treats God, how a person treats themselves, and how a person treats others. The majority of Sharia has nothing to do with punishments and everything to do with ethnic worship, personal conduct, and social justice. The primary objective of Sharia, Islamic scholars unanimously agree that Sharia exists to protect 5 essential things: protection of life, protection of religion, protection of intellect, protection of family, protection of property. Any law or action that violates these objectives is not Sharia, even if someone claims it is. Now let's go through Sharia principles one by one. So pay attention to this. This clarifies everything about Sharia. Number 1, protection of life. Sharia places the sanctity of life, of human life, above almost everything else. Taking one innocent life is considered as killing all of humanity. Saving one life is considered as saving all of humanity. Under Sharia, murder is prohibited, terrorism is prohibited, vigilantism is prohibited, and harming innocent people is prohibited. War itself is heavily restricted with strict rules protecting civilians, women, children, elderly, and even trees. and animals. Compare this to today's world. Mass shootings normalized. Civilians killed as collateral damage. Wars justified by profit and politics. Sharia says human life is sacred regardless of race, nationality, or religion. Number 2, justice and equality before the law. Sharia does not recognize superiority based on race, wealth, status, or power. Everyone is equal before the law, including leaders. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stated that if his own daughter committed a crime, the law would apply to her equally. No immunity, no elite privilege. Compare this to today's world. The wealthy escape justice. Corporations pay fines instead of facing accountability. Minorities face disproportionate punishment. Sharia demands accountability at the highest level and not selective justice. Number 3, protection of family and social stability. Sharia strongly protects the family unit because stable families create stable societies. Marriage is honored, children are protected, parents are respected, and elders are cared for. Adultery, domestic abuse, abandonment of children, and exploration are all prohibited. Compare this to today's world. Broken homes, normalized children growing up without guidance, loneliness, depression, and identity crisis increasing. Sharia builds society from the family outward instead of patching damage later. Number 4, protection of women. Contrary to popular belief, Sharia was the first system in history to give women the right to inherit own property, consent to marriage, and seek divorce, and be financially independent. Forced marriage is prohibited. Abuse is prohibited. Women cannot be treated as property. Compare this to today's world. Women objectified for profit, value, tied to appearance, exploration marketed as empowerment. Sharia protects dignity, not exploration. Number 5, protection of the poor and economic justice. Sharia prohibits exploration, interest-based, predatory lending, hoarding, wealth, and economic oppression. Charity is not optional, it is mandatory. The poor have a right to the wealth of the rich. Compare this to today's world. Billionaires grow richer while millions starve. Debt enslaves families, housing and healthcare unaffordable. Sharia creates circulation of wealth, not concentration. Number 6, protection of intellect and moral health. Sharia prohibits intoxicants, drugs, and anything that destroys the mind, because a society cannot function when judgment is impaired. Compare this to today's world. Addiction, epidemics, mental health crises, drugs, normalized while families collapse. Sharia prevents harm before it spreads, instead of reacting after destruction. So about the punishments, the biggest misunderstanding. Less than 1% of Sharia deals with criminal punishments. Even those punishments have extremely high standard of evidence, mercy built into the system, and are almost never applied historically. The goal is deterrence and not violence. The goal is preventing harm and not creating fear. Today, prisons are full. Repeat crimes And our common victims rarely get justice, and criminals are released to offend again. Sharia focuses on prevention, accountability, and rehabilitation, and deterrence all at once. What a society with Sharia would look like. For example, lower crime, stronger families, less corruption, economic balance, respect for elders, protection of children, accountability of leaders, peaceful coexistence with other religions. What a society without Sharia looks like. Moral confusion, rising crime, broken families, loneliness, depression, economic injustice, endless wars, power without accountability. Addressing Islamic phobia directly. Sharia is not violent. Violence comes from injustice, ignorance, and power without accountability. The greatest violence of the modern world was not committed by Muslims. It was committed by secular empires, colonialism, world wars, nuclear weapons, and mass destruction. Sharia has never produced genocide. Modern systems have. And in closing, Sharia is not something to fear. It is something to understand. You do not fear what you truly know. You fear what you have been lied about. Sharia is about mercy, justice, dignity, and peace. If humanity applied its principles sincerely, we would not need to ask why the world is broken. We would finally know how to fix it. Islam does not need to be reformed to fit justice. It was built on justice long before the modern world discovered it.